Welcome to Olympian Water Testing, giving you the best in water analysis. Today we're looking at Riverkeeper and an opinion: New York State must increase safeguards on toxic PFAS in drinking water. Let's see what they have to say. Members of the public spoke up this month to urge New York State to protect drinking water through stronger science-based limits on toxic PFA chemicals. We would like to thank all of our members and supporters who joined Riverkeeper and our partners in submitting letters to the Department of Health through our Action Alert page. A formal comment letter was submitted to the Department of Health December 5th by Riverkeeper Environmental Advocates, New York Sierra Club Atlantic Chapter, PFOA Project New York, Seneca Lake Guardian, Hudson River Slop Clean Water, and NYPRRG Clean Plus Healthy Citizens Campaign for the Environment. So a lot of different organizations are taking a look at this. What do they think? A class of toxic PFAS, chemicals known as forever chemicals, there's also PFOs, have long polluted drinking water across New York, including the Hudson Valley. One particularly egregious crisis was faced by the city of Newburgh, whose main water drinking reservoir was contaminated by firefighting foam used at the nearby Stewart Air National Guard base. The U.S. Environmental Protection Agency recently declared that there is no safe level of exposure to certain PFA chemicals. Exposure over a lifetime to even trace amounts of these chemicals in drinking water may increase the risk of negative development in fetuses and breastfed infants, as well as kidney and testicular cancer, liver damage, and other health problems. It has been over 8 years since PFA chemicals were first detected in the New York drinking water supplies, and since then, new contamination continues to be discovered in communities across the state, including many Hudson Valley communities. In the absence of effective federal action, states have stepped in to address the difficult problem posed by these chemicals. New York State has set drinking water standards for two PFAs, PFOAs, PFOs, and designated them as hazardous substances, triggering state Superfund cleanup processes at contaminated sites. In October, the Department of Health proposed long-delayed regulations to establish new drinking water standards and notification levels for 23 additional toxic PFA chemicals, and these standards will determine when drinking water contaminated is cleaned up, when New Yorkers are directly notified about what's in their drinking water. The newly proposed PFAS drinking water standards would set limits of 10 parts per trillion for 4 individual, newly regulated PFAS and 30 combined for all 6 regulated PFAs. However, those limits would still allow detectable levels of these PFAs to remain in drinking water. This means that the risky levels of contamination might still remain in our drinking water. At least 500,000 New Yorkers, including many in the Hudson Valley, are exposed to detectable levels of PFAS contamination in drinking water. Therefore, Riverkeeper urged the Department of Health to set more protective standards so these communities would be required to filter contaminants and they could gain access to state grants and loans to cover the cost. With the Department of Health's proposal, too many communities would be left without the requirement or financial support to reduce contamination levels. The department will review public comments and we hope include these more protective standards into financial regulations. They thank everyone who told the Department of Health to step up, and this is a serious problem. That's why it's always a good idea to have your water periodically tested for forever chemicals.